Hey everyone, and welcome to Top Think. Today we're going to learn about 12 psychology tricks to build self-discipline. Now let's begin. Number 1. Replacement activities. Self-discipline is the practice of resisting temptation. If you can resist temptation, you can gain control over your habits, your productivity, and your lifestyle. But how do you train your brain to ignore all the temptations in your life? Alright, let's say you want to reduce the number of hours that you spend on social media. Normally, you scroll through social media during your downtime. If you want to increase your self-control, then you replace your social media with a different pre-selected activity. So every time you feel like scrolling through your feed, you do your replacement activity instead. Read a book, talk to a friend, do some deep breathing exercises. You can choose whatever replacement activity you want. But the goal is to channel your negative urges into positive habits. Over time, those positive habits will feel more natural, and your vices, they will fade into the background. Number 2. The hot and cool system. Self-control is a hot and cool system. When you're hot, your brain is swept up into passionate, impulsive emotions. In this state of mind, people make reckless decisions without considering their long-term consequences. When you're cool, your brain thinks slowly and logically, it weighs the options, and it makes safe, educated decisions. Most people struggle with self-discipline because their hot system makes all their choices for them. Their emotions get the best of them, and their impulses take over. But your hot system loses its power over time. If you can resist that temptation for a few extra minutes, then your cool system will come to your rescue. And your decision-making will improve significantly. So if you want to build your self-discipline, then empower your cool system to make smart, long-term decisions. Alright, let's say you're about to spend money on a new computer. Your hot system gets excited and your emotions take hold. When you feel yourself getting excited, just force yourself to step away. Take a 15-minute break. During those 15 minutes, your cool system will take over. Once you're cool, you may discover that a big purchase is not as smart as you thought. Number 3. Stress control. The hot and cool system is moderated by time, but it's also moderated by stress. When you're experiencing higher levels of stress, your hot system takes control. This comes from a 1999 study in the Psychological Review. Researchers found that stress offsets the delicate balance between your hot system and your cool system. In other words, when you're stressed, you're more likely to make reckless and impulsive decisions. By regulating your stress, you can actually improve your self-control. So, whenever you have a difficult decision to make, just take advantage of simple stress-relieving activities like stretching or meditation. These exercises can decrease your stress, which ultimately improves the quality of your choices. Number 4. Environmental impact. Alright, let's say that two people are trying to live more disciplined lives. Both people want to increase their productivity. One person practices their new productive habits in a library. The other person practices their habits in a movie theater. Who do you think is going to find more success? Your environment plays a huge role in your self-discipline. So if you put yourself in tempting situations, it's far more difficult to make good choices. So use your environment to your advantage. Number 5. Disciplinary fuel. According to some scientists, you can almost instantly increase your self-control with one simple trick. A 2007 study in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that willpower has a strong association with cellular energy. In other words, if your body doesn't have enough fuel, your willpower decreases. So how do you give yourself a big boost of willpower? You supply your body with the fuel it needs to make smart choices. Before making a decision or tackling your work, enjoy an energy-rich meal. Refuel your body and give your brain the energy it needs to stay in control. Number 6. One small step. Oversized expectations can ruin your self-control. If you're intimidated by the obstacle in front of you, then it feels impossible to be productive. Luckily, there's an easy way to trick your brain into overcoming any obstacle. If you want to start working, don't worry about all the responsibilities on your plate. Don't think about the mountain you have to climb. focus only on the first step. So whenever you encounter a new challenge, start with a small and simple goal. That goal is all you need to worry about, because once you accomplish that goal, once you take that first step, you can take a second step and then a third, and before you know it, you've overcome that huge, intimidating obstacle. You've climbed that mountain, and you did it, one step at a time. Number 7. Faulty excuses. Do you make excuses for your lack of self-control? Over time, you've taught yourself to justify your bad habits, but your excuses aren't as bulletproof as you think. Just take a minute to think about why you aren't accomplishing your goals. What excuses do you tell yourself when you're feeling unproductive? Alright, let's say you want to read more books. Your goal is to read one book every month, but you haven't made any progress, so you tell yourself, after a long day of work, I don't have time to read, and that excuse justifies your lack of self-control. But is your excuse really true? Just think about what you do after work. You may spend those hours watching TV, scrolling through social media, and just wasting the afternoon away. Couldn't you sacrifice a sliver of your time to read a new book? Building self-discipline doesn't happen all at once. You have to start with small chunks of time, let's say 30 minutes each day. Now, that may not sound like much, but every chunk puts you one step closer to your goal. Number 8. Linguistic sabotage. Your language can increase and decrease your self-discipline. Experts found that people who overemphasize willpower and self-control experience deficits in both. So the more you concentrate on your lack of self-control, then the harder it becomes to make good choices. For example, you might say, I make bad choices because I don't have enough self-discipline. This language creates a passive, self-defeating mindset. Instead, you might say, I make bad choices because I'm putting myself in harmful situations. This time, you're giving yourself control over your choices and your environment. You're empowering yourself to make changes, and that's how you build self-control. Number 9. Discipline depletion. Self-discipline, scientists explain, is like a muscle. It gets stronger the more you train and practice. But muscles do get tired. If you practice too much, you experience fatigue. In the same way, there's a limit to how disciplined one person can be. If you try too hard, you may experience depletion. You lose the energy required to make good decisions. Even though your heart's in the right place, too much enthusiasm may come back to bite you. So if you want to build self-discipline, then work on your bad habits one at a time and give yourself a break every once in a while. You can't expect 110% every second of the day. Disciplined people have self-control to make smart, long-term decisions, but they also have the self-awareness to relax, recover, and reward themselves for a job well done. Number 10. Advanced decisions. Self-discipline is limited, so how do you make good choices without depleting your energy? Smart decision makers avoid impulsive decisions by making their choices in advance. Alright, let's say you want to increase your productivity at work, but you find yourself picking up your phone more often than you should. It takes a lot of energy to resist this continuous temptation, so a smart decision maker would save themselves the trouble. They would eliminate this distraction by leaving their phone at home. This technique takes advantage of your hot and cool system. By making planning in advance, you can make decisions when you're cool. And that way, when you're hot, all your temptations are already off the table. You can also plan ahead to reduce the number of decisions that you make each day. You may not even realize it, but you make hundreds of little choices on a daily basis. And that consumes a lot of energy. If you eliminate those small decisions, then you'll save extra energy for the moments that matter most. Number 11. Habit measurement. Do you know how much time you spend on your bad habits? You may be wasting hours every day on meaningless activities, but it doesn't feel like hours. You engage with these distractors in short bursts. Many people, for example, pick up their phones hundreds of times every day. You check messages and emails, you check the time, the weather, and the news, and by the end of the day, you've spent 4 or 5 hours on your phone. To save yourself hours of wasted time, try measuring the time you spend on your bad habits. If, for example, you pick your phone up too often, there are applications you can use to calculate just how much you're losing. These measurements are great motivators. They force you to take responsibility for the time you're wasting. You're much more likely to avoid your bad habit when you're conscious of the damage you're doing. So start measuring your bad habits today, because chances are you've wasted enough time already. Number 12. Consistent performance. Some days you'll set records and empower your personal growth. Other days you'll do just enough to get by, but that's okay. Whether it's a good day or a bad day, there's only one thing that matters. You showed up and you tried. To build self-discipline, you don't have to function at the top of your game every single day. What really matters is consistency. If nothing else, make sure you always follow through. Even if it isn't your best work, even if you're tired and unmotivated, if you want to increase your self-control, then you need to show up at your best and at your worst. Hey, thank you for watching Top Think, and be sure to subscribe because more incredible content is on the way.